to the SilmFilm Script Discussion, Season 2, Episode 11, Part 3. Thanks for liking and sharing the videos. If you like and want to share them, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for checking out the links below, where you'll find a wonderful link to Mythmoot 4 Invoking Wonder conference taking place June 1st through the 4th of next year. All that said, we are kind of making our way through Act 1 here. I feel like we still need some more stuff to happen. We get the conversation. Well, let's see here. We get the arrival of Indus. Maybe a short conversation between Nerdanel and Indus. What do we think that's like?
What does Nerdanel think of Indus? Indus is basically her mother-in-law.
Yeah. Right.
But I would think that
They're
Nerdanel and Indus have a better relationship than Feanor and Indus.
Oh, of course.
So it's kind of like a weird thing where the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship is better than the stepmom-son relationship.
It's not weird. It's just not cliche.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. It's not that unusual. I would say that does occasionally happen if the relationship between son and mother are at all strained.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, the daughter-in-law has to be the go-between. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't typically happen in Italian families because it's just genetic for the mother-in-law to hate her daughter who stole her son from her.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, so didn't happen in my family though. My mother loves my wife.
Good.
Unsurprising. My wife is absolutely very lovable. Anyway, so
I'm gonna call that a biased opinion.
No way. Marie's met my wife. She's adorable.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
Yeah, just don't make her mad.
The fact that you have to add that disclaimer maybe takes down your statement of compassion.
Anyway,
she's lovable and adorable, but don't get on her bad side.
All right, so Brian knows exactly what I'm talking about, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, I wish I could make my girlfriend get mad. That would be nice. We could have an argument from time to time instead of not working on any of our problems.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's we're not a couple anymore for precisely that reason. So.
Yeah. If you can't talk about things, it's probably a good idea to break up. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of breaking up, let's talk about.
Good segue.
I didn't even have to bring my segue. So, let's talk about where. Okay, so our plot point is really the conversation between Feanor and Nerdanel, where he's unhappy that she's let Indus into the compound.
Mm-hmm.
His fortress of solitude.
The compound. The fortress of solitude with literally hundreds of people living there.
Exactly. His entire family is there.
Okay. So that to him is solitude.
Right. Because they're people he trusts. It's okay.
Yeah. They're the people who attribute the correct amount of worship to him.
Loyalty.
Yeah.
I think the word is loyalty.
Yeah, Mm-hmm. Yeah, that word is very often being used to mean worship these days.
Let's not get into it.
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. It's a political thing. Don't worry.
Nope. Yeah. Never mind.
We got topical again.
But loyalty is a good thing. I mean, if you're loyal to the right person.
Yeah, exactly.
There should be limits to loyalty also.
Agreed. But it makes you a really cool character if there's not.
Yeah.
Fanatical devotion can be really awesome in character.
In literature.
Yeah.
Yes. It not in real life.
Yes.
in literature.
Yeah, I'll tell you. The January 20th, 2009. I was waiting for the gold statue to get rolled out. Just saying. Anyway, so let's get our move on to Act 2 here, because in Act 2 we have to do something more damaging to the relationship between Nerdanel and Feanor
Okay.
than the arrival of Indus.
Yeah. All right. So the arrival of various people is going to happen one per act, I would guess. So
Okay.
if Indus shows up in Act 1, then Act 2 could be the messenger of the Valar who gets turned away from the door.
I like that.
Act 3 could be Fingon coming to visit Maedhros. And then Act 4 would be Melkor.
I like all of the things. All of the
progression.
Said. I like.
Okay. All right. So
could we have found a job for what's her name? Varda's favorite handmaiden?
Ilmare. See, if the only thing we're going to do with her this entire project is have her come deliver a message and get turned away,
Yeah.
like, why do we even have her?
Yeah.
To the point that I'm pretty sure we don't have her.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't think we cast her, and I think we've given Arian her role for the most part. So it's quite possible that Ilmare doesn't even exist in this project.
Yeah.
Even though I think we gave her some lines in the first season.
Well, we can. I mean, there can be a costume and actress who
Right.
plays Ilmare. We just don't.
Stands there all the time.
Right.
She brings Varda things.
He's Varda's handmaiden.
Right. Here's your comb. Here's your apple. I don't know.
Here's that bucket of light you requested.
Exactly. Here you go. Here's your star ingredient.
All right. Well, I mean, it could just be unnamed female Maiar too. Like,
sure, it could be Ilmare. I'm fine with it being Ilmare. I was more just joking of the poor Ilmare.
I just realized
the only time she gets to do anything, she doesn't even get to do her job.
Yeah, we should kind of like, it doesn't need to be explicit per se, but we should kind of emphasize the fact that literally everyone that comes to Formanos is not welcome there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is not, the messenger's not, Fingon is technically not supposed to show up because, you know, his dad doesn't like Maedhros hanging out with that Finn kid.
Right.
He's got Finn in his name. I don't like him.
It could be like, we could even have Feanor have a moment like, fine, like when it's like, you know, oh, can Fingon come over? And he's like, fine, whatever. Anybody can just come in, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
I guess why even bother finishing the walls? I mean,
right. This is
going to have everybody coming over all the time.
Okay, so
he's the only one that gets that this is supposed to be a stronghold of defense. Like, have you not noticed the battlements and the? All right, fine, whatever. No, it's fine.
I feel so badly for Fingon and Maedhros. They're like, we just want to be friends, but our dads hate each other and are trying to turn into the Hatfields and McCoys. Oops.
I think our dads hate. Well, I mean, I guess we pushed that angle in this project a little bit harder, but mostly it's. But your dad is kind of a prick.
Yeah, but Maedhros hasn't reached that point yet, so.
I know.
And we could show a little bit more friction in their relationship. Like, Fingon and Maedhros could start out by being like, oh, it's so great to see you, and we're great friends, and la la la. But as the conversation goes on,
they could have a fight.
Yeah, they could actually be like, you know what?
I don't know. I don't know if we need that yet. I think we need to save Maedhros turning into a schmuck for much later. For now, I'd be very happy just having them be sympathetic and.
Honestly, I don't think Maedhros turns into a schmuck until after Fingon dies.
Yeah, so let's just let them be.
Although, keep in mind though that excuse me, that the problem is that if all they do in that conversation is lament about how nobody want to see us together, but it don't matter, no. If that's all we're getting, it's not that interesting.
Well, I don't necessarily know we need to spend a ton of time on it.
I didn't say that we did. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
We should probably do something with that conversation while we have them there.
Right.
But we'll figure out what fits in with her.
Okay, we'll get to that when we get into Act 3.
Yeah.
In Act 2, let's figure out what the Act 2 structure is, because
I think Act 2 would be where where Feanor would be teaching all of his sons how to sword fight.
yes, I agree.
That gives us a chance to have all the brothers as characters and
Mhm.
have them be differentiated a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not sure what we need out of that scene. I want Currifin to be the favorite, but other than that, I don't. Because part of the no one's ever good enough for Feanor, he has 7 sons.
Right.
Like, if your father thinks that no one's good enough, that's one thing. But if your father thinks you're not good enough, that does something to you.
Yeah.
And we have to know that Feanor's that kind of dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably show at least something.
Band
His son's
teacher
really
from
want it.
what was that movie? J.K. Simmons plays that horrible band teacher. What movie was that?
I have no idea.
Oh, it won an Academy Award. What was it? Dang. I think it was Best Picture.
What kind of? You said it was a teacher scenario. What was? The
it was a teacher who was teaching a guy playing drum set for like a jazz band or something, and he was like the most.
I know the movie you're talking about. I've never watched all of it, but I know the movie you're talking about.
It's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I mean, I think that we're going to. I mean, I feel like that's a good way to open up Act 2.
Yeah.
To show. I mean, are we? Do you think that he's having them spar with each other, or do you think that he's training them?
Oh, absolutely. No. They're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, there can be some like straw dummies to slice up, but.
Okay. Well, because here's the thing: if we want to show like any kind of military tactics level stuff, it's not single combat that you're concentrating on. You're concentrating these guys standing on a line with their shields and engaging an enemy. Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're trying to train them to do.
Right. Well, I
think they should all be just like in a brawl, essentially. Like after the lines have broken and it's just, kind of open combat, they should all be fighting each other at the same time.
Okay. Well, first thing, there's only 7 of them. There's not that many.
That's a lot of people in a fight on a screen. Like you don't usually get that many people.
I understand, but that's like a melee between 7 people where 4 are on one side and 3 are on the other.
It's nobody's on any side. They're all fighting each other.
Like a last man standing kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it is a little tricky to try to set that up. But I mean, they could do it. And there could be other people there just because he's training his sons.
Doesn't mean he's not training anybody else either. Yeah, actually.
There's a household.
We could, if we want to set it up like they start off on teams and then kind of descend into more disorganized combat.
Well, what we
could even do more than one scene.
Yeah.
We could have one scene where he's teaching his sons like for individual fighting stuff with swords, which is going to look a lot more like what we showed in Tyrion with the training and combat for the tournament style.
Yeah.
Then there could be a later scene where it's like the whole household and it's more militarized.
I would almost training the other way. Like I'd rather have him training like everyone all at once, and then he has a private session with just his 7 boys, and he's like, "All right, last man standing, go."
Okay, I mean that's doable.
I like that we're making Feanor John, what's his face from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
I actually really like.
There are a few people more evil than the Cobra Kai and freaking Karate Kid. Those dudes just bad eggs all around.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Yeah. Like they're 7-year-olds and
what's
it's
interesting
like,
is it gets
karate. Like, really, dude?
Sweep the leg.
Yeah. Give it a break.
Okay.
Really not the spirit of.
well, like, because we could do that in the scene where he's working with his sons, where like one of them has the other kind of at his mercy and like doesn't pursue it or doesn't follow through these.
And there's like a finish him kind of moment.
Sort of. Like, I mean, he's not gonna tell murder.
No, he's not gonna tell them to murder each other.
But he gives him like I did not say that combat was over. You are not done. Get back in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if so, well, what easy way to do that is if one of them if there's like two left of this crazy weird melee, which I still don't understand, and one of them disarms the other.
Yeah.
He's clearly won, and so he starts to back off, and Feanor is like, "What are you doing? Who told you to stop?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a few things we could do with that. One would be to show that Feanor doesn't go for the whole mercy thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for total domination, which makes sense for his character. And we can show his son's fighting style.
Who are the two brothers that are like super homies? Like who one of them like really looks up to the other one?
Whose twins are like super bros.
No, the twin. Well, maybe the twins.
Do you mean Mithras and Maglor?
Yeah, like Maglor is it Mithras who's the older one, right?
Mithras is the oldest, and
yeah. So Maglor is like
Maglor
gets it over on Mithras, and then he.
I don't know that the two of them are the last two standing in a sword fight, though.
Yeah.
Well, not that they're the last two standing in a sword fight. Just that he kind of disarms, like you said, he disarms Mithras. But then he doesn't, like, maybe they're not fighting with live steel, right? So
it could be like
he's supposed to give him, a tap somewhere or something to signify he doesn't.
I would say he's got to at least get him into a position where, like, he's got his sword at his throat, or essentially he's
right.
where the guy's dead, essentially.
But like for me, basically. There'd be punishment essentially. Like if you have disarmed your opponent, you're supposed to give him a good solid whack or whatever, just to kind of drive home the fact that you screwed up and now you're dead.
Actually really easy to do because what I'm thinking here is that, especially if like Feanor kind of steps in.
This is what I'm saying. He gets him into a position, but doesn't give him the tap because he doesn't want to hurt his big brother, who he loves so very, 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 very much. And then Feanor stops everything and tears him a new one, and just like like, we are not messing around here.
Yeah.
This is not playtime.
Yeah, Maglor's the artist in the group, in the sense that he's the musician. So most people have considered Maglor to have a gentler disposition than the other brothers.
Yeah.
So I think it fits that he would get chewed out by Feanor.
Well, especially for his favorite big brother. So.
Right.
Well,
someone like Helagorm or Curafin isn't going to have that gentler side.
Yeah.
Well, just to kind of mechanically, like, for example, if they are doing like training for like a hoplite style heavy infantry unit, they have big shields that make it super easy to knock down an opponent and get your sword right up in their face. So if that's kind of what Feanor was looking for him to do in that situation,
right? And it's a thing that needs to be practiced, right? You don't not practice knocking over your opponent,
right.
Something you can just do.
Right. And so and Feanor could even, after he dresses down the winner, he could turn around and actually perform this move.
So he takes down Mithras,
Right.
Or he does it to Maglor to show him
But he was
To
pissed at
show
that.
him what he's talking about. Yeah.
My the tallest, Mithras the Tall is one of his
That's so tall.
epithets.
I remember that one.
Good guy. But the sword fighting stuff seriously until after they get to Middle Earth, because
Yeah.
After he loses his right hand, he has to retrain with a sword, and it specifically makes the comment that he's much deadlier with his left hand than he ever was with his right. So he's not the best in this setup.
That was my kind of concern, is that these two are not necessarily the ones that I would expect to see come out on top.
But
unless they were working together
to take out the others.
Well, I don't think that they should necessarily be like, nobody should be down when this happens. Like Mithras should be like the first one to go down, and he's horsing around. Like he's not really taking it seriously. He's fighting with his little brother, and and so the whole time Feanor's watching this, getting more and more angry, and Feanor like stops everything. He wades into the combat and says, "Everybody stop." And like, I think it's much more effective for him to get so angry that he stops the proceedings.
Okay.
And like has everybody so now stand up and do it right this time, and then restarts everything. You know what I mean?
Okay. 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 So if we do that in episode 3, I like the fact that that's now escalating his kind of mania.
Yeah.
So if we set up this like where he's training the household in a larger unit style combat, spears and shields being primary weapons, with the shorter Xiphos style sword being a secondary, and those battles can actually look really dynamic on screen because there's a lot of pushing, shoving, and whatnot. All right, but what do we
now
get?
I'm kind of split over which one should happen first.
Well,
I think
here's
the spectacle of the larger one would kind of maybe drive home the fact that this is like, I guess probably the him training his sons separately first is a little better, because that way we get an understanding of where his head's at, and then we show the spectacle of all of these people, these hundreds of elves, lining up and getting into it.
And the second one,
Nerdanel walk up beside him during that, and that's like nearing that's kind of the climax almost of Act 3.
Yeah.
I think
one thing that Nerdanel can point out is you got banished for breaking the peace of Valinor.
Right. This is not
helping. What is this? Like, looking at a military troop review. It's like,
well, this is
peace.
Right. You have now created your own little war in your own household.
Yeah.
Well done.
You're training an army. Like, I don't think the Valar are going to go for this.
I really don't know.
All right.
And it should be, we should hear Melkor's words coming out of his mouth. Like, I'm just, the Valar have done this, and if they come here, looking to pick a fight, we're going to be ready.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
All right. Let's take a break real quick. If you're watching us live, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you're watching us later on YouTube, sometime in the future, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next year, definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. Check out the links below for more information on the SilmFilm project, Mythgard University, Mythgard Academy, Signum University, but most importantly, Mythmoot 4, taking place next June 1st through the 4th. It's going to be awesome. In a minute.